be showing our Reggio Emilia-based classroom design.
I'm Michaela.
I'm Lolly.
I'm Gabby.
I'm Hannah.
And I'm Riley.
Okay. And so, as a group, we wanted to create a classroom that was Reggio Emilia based. So this would include our classroom to really focus on inclusion, creativity, and meaningful experiences for our children. And so the Bible verse that we chose was Proverbs 22:6, and it's train up a child in the way he should go, even when he is old, he will not depart from it. And so this verse for us means that the experiences that we make for a child in their early childhood really sticks to them in their life. So we wanted to create an environment that will stick with our children even after beyond the classroom as well.
So we chose Reggio Emilia, and we did this because we liked its use of natural elements over like artificial elements. We liked how it familiarizes the children with materials that they could encounter, and also introduces them to like more natural materials. We appreciated how it was child-centered and how the classroom was seen as the third teacher. We didn't really want to use the other theories because of, like in the high scope model, we didn't like the overuse of color to the point of overstimulation, and we liked the organization and cleanliness of the Montessori theory, but we chose Reggio Emilia because of its natural elements. And the Waldorf approach had like a home-like structure that we liked, but we preferred a more classroom-like area for the children's learning.
And so going off of what Michaela said, we don't want our classroom to be so overstimulating as soon as our children walk into our class. So the first thing that they see really does set a tone for like what the classroom environment's gonna be like. So as soon as children walk in, they'll see our class door decorated with affirmation words. So it will say, in this class, we are talented, we are a team, we are smart, and it just really makes our students' identity seen, and it. Oh my gosh. Sorry guys. Oh my gosh. No, we're good. I'll just cut it out. And so it again creates a tone as soon as our children walk into the classroom. And so as soon as they walk in, they'll also see our class wall, which is used with natural branches from outside, which really emphasizes on using natural elements in the classroom. And so our students will see their pictures on the wall, and it just shows our class family. And then they'll see a parent board, and it's really for parents to also feel included in our classroom. And it'll include our weekly schedule, our calendar with upcoming events, and then a weekly newsletter to keep parents informed on what's going on throughout the week. And then as well as some birthdays of the month to just inform parents on that. And then when our students are walking into our classroom, they'll start to see their cubby area. And so each student will have their own labeled space where they are free to decorate it in any way that they would want to. And it just really supports their creativity by them decorating how they would like to, and then supports their independence as well, so that they know that this is their own space and they can put whatever they need to in there.
Okay, so for the Math Center, we want this to be a place where children feel the ability to be able to explore through using loose-end materials and open-ended materials from outside, and be able to use that outdoor and indoor. So with the Reggio Emilia approach, they'll be able to develop math skills and being able to count, use motor development skills, and counting and learning about shapes all at their own pace. And so also this has an emphasis on using accessible materials and learning the importance of being able to reuse and recycle for the rest of their life. So for the indoor examples, as you can see, there's a bunch of loose parts, sticks, rocks, cardstock, markers, Sharpies, plants, so that they can be able to use this center to be able to feel comfortable to use at their own pace and to feel like it's tangible to their level. And so also the counting items such as number cards and materials that support that fine and gross motor development. For our outdoor examples, what's used indoor can be used outdoors, such as wooden blocks, acorns, leaves, sticks, chalks, and other loose part materials to be able to use as a math center. This will help diverse learners engage by using adaptive tools and technology and having access to these materials with the support that they need of disabilities, or if there's a language barrier, to be able to help them through number cards and having that language available or in multiple languages like numbers, and also to be able to help them use their fine motor skills and having different tools to help them with picking up certain things. And then ultimately it just honors their past experiences and makes room for all learners in this space.
Okay, and so for the Manipulative Center, it's a hands-on station, really good for that tactile learning. In this station, you'll be able to find blocks, puzzles, Lego Duplo bricks, although for Reggio Emilio, we would probably find some alternatives that are natural materials, counting and sorting materials such as beads, buttons, etc. And also, you can see over there in that picture that there's wooden blocks and just really anything that'll encourage that hands-on learning. This station really focuses on developing fine motor skills, hand-eye coordination, spatial awareness, categorization, and furthers cognitive development. And yeah, it really just lays that foundation for mathematical concepts that kids will be using throughout the rest of their life and sets them up for successful learning as they continue with their academic journey.
For the Language and Literacy Center, the goal is to kind of start to familiarize the children with like letters that will set them up, like set the foundation for learning to read. And the materials in this center would be rocks that have letters on them, sticks, books that are like weatherproof, a sandbox or a sand trough where they could practice writing letters or using a stamp to put letters in, and then also the stamps for that. All of these materials could be used both indoors and outdoors, and they could even be modified to like collect certain elements instead of having them be provided, like the sticks or the rocks. That could also be used for the math center where they could write numbers on the rocks instead of letters. And the center engages diversity through using books with various cultures represented to help children feel seen and appreciated, as well as open their eyes to cultures different than their own. Books with different languages could also accomplish this. Having a sand trough can also make the sand writing / stamping activity more mobile, so it can be put on any level or in any area, so it is more accessible for those with physical and neurodiversities. And then we have the Sensory Development Center. This is to kind of help the children engage with different materials and see what they like and what they don't like. So some of the indoor materials could be clay, pom-poms, seashells, yarn, sponges, or fake plants. And some of the outdoor materials could be a tape nature bracelet, which would be where the children would put tape around their wrist, and then they could pick elements of nature to stick on their bracelet, which they could feel like the sensory aspect of it. And also seashells, rocks, sticks, pine cones, or grass. This center would engage diversity because it would include flexible seating to be inclusive with those with differing abilities, and no child would have to engage with a sensory element that they did not feel comfortable.
Okay, and for Music and Movement Center, music has many cognitive and emotional benefits, and having materials in the classroom to encourage kids to engage in musical activities is important. Music also improves language and literacy, listening skills, rhythm, and phonemic awareness, and then movement integration boosts coordination, balance, and body awareness. In this station, you'll be able to find instruments such as guitar, drums, maracas, and xylophones. I noticed specifically Reggio Emilia classrooms had like pretty similar to like real instruments instead of the toy or fake instruments you can see in a lot of different classrooms. Musical toys, so toys that elicit music, and then ample space to move freely is really important, especially if the teacher or educator decides to utilize the space for collaborative or collective activities that include the entire class. And then music and movement also encourages engagement and motivation, so any excess energy that the kids have can be used up in this station, and which is why it's beneficial to integrate this station into the curriculum for everyday activities so that kids have the opportunity, just to be more engaged and and collectively make music with their peers. And it is also an opportunity to introduce children to different cultures and expanding their worldview.
Then we have the building and block center. This can be used to kind of stimulate creativity in the children, and they can kind of just work on building and putting things together. Some indoor and outdoor materials that could be used are mini logs, sticks, tree discs, like the little circles on there, rocks, wood blocks, and toy people. Toy people are generally made of plastic, but we could use some that were made of wood to kind of fit with the Reggio Emilia approach. Also, you can make like a little rock person as to kind of go along with Reggio Emilia. And all these materials could be used both inside and outside. And this center engages diversity through having different type of materials that can provide different sensory options for those with neurodiversities, having flexible seating, which makes the materials and making the materials more mobile can help be inclusive to those with physical and neuro differences, and having toy people that represent different cultures and abilities, like having a person in a wheelchair, can help children feel represented and included, as well as learn about the differences of others and how to appreciate them.
And in the Social Dramatic Play Center, I really liked this quote I want to story that says, "Play is a child's work." So there's a lot of benefits in having a social dramatic play area in a classroom. It encourages imaginary play and collaborative play, as well as higher cognitive skills, fine and gross motor skills, and adaptivity. And then I also like this other quote by Vygotsky that says, "During play, children are able to think in more complex ways than in their everyday lives, and could make up rules, use symbols, and create narratives." So again, just emphasizing that independence and that learning how to work with others or create their own stories and really just engage in that imaginary play, which is super important in terms of development for children's higher thinking. And in this space, children have the opportunity to imitate and interact with everyday things as they have seen it modeled by the adults around them, and it sparks and nurtures a sense of independence. So kids are natural imitators, and in this space they're able to have that opportunity to really think big and be whoever they want to be, and also learn to socialize with their peers and work together to create like a really fun game that overall improves their thinking skills.
Okay, so for the Science Center, just overall this gives children the ability and students the ability to be able to engage through observation, inquiry, experimenting, and sensory exploration. With all of these, especially the butterfly one, it represents the Eckers, being able to see the live aspect of seeing the butterfly grow and being able to have the students do observation. Indoor examples would be able to see the weather, being able to do like a checklist or an assessment of what they see, what they feel, and then also for outdoor examples, having the gardening areas, having thermometers, and having like a water sink and flow area to be able to see and observe that observation. Also being able to see the seasonal changes. Diverse learners will be able to engage in this by being able to have that accessibility for the Science Center to be able to have tools and things like that to help them along with resources. This also helps ultimately foster inclusion of everyone in the classroom through plants, flowers, animals, insects from all cultures to promote that global and cultural awareness of everyone in the classroom. And these materials help children become familiar with the cultural differences and building that appreciation for diversity.
Okay. And so for our Visual Arts Center, this center would include open-ended art materials that will be placed on shelves to the children's level, just for it to be a little more accessible to them. The materials will be in clear jars and baskets, and these materials will also be at their art tables organized. And some other materials that they would find in these baskets are crayons, pastels, markers, paintbrushes, clay, and different types of textured paper, and some natural materials from outside. So it could be like acorns, leaves, shells, or sticks as well. And all of these can be used to create art. And on their tables will also be an apron with their name on it, so it can only belong just to that child. And this is just for like parents to also not be upset if their child was to come home with like a messy shirt with like paint on it. So it just helps the children be a little more creative when they're creating art, so that they can be as messy as they can, because messy is better and they're having a lot more fun. And so in the outdoor space, you would find more of the same materials that you would find inside, but it would also include like the water spray bottles, or stones, and again like shells, acorns, and leaves. And again, all these materials would be useful to create art. And this supports diversity because it invites all children to express themselves in ways that feel comfortable. So open-ended materials allow children to share their cultures and communicate without using their words, and explore sensory-friendly options. So we would also have gloves accessible for our children, just in case they do not like feeling certain textures on their hands. And so every child can participate at their own pace and in their own style. And so their art would also be hung all over our room, just to support their creativity. And our technology center inside would include our iPad center. This would be on our table that would be located next to the projector that we would use in our classroom. So the iPads would be used for interactive apps that have to do with our lessons. So it could be history, science, or math and literacy. And so our projector would also be used to show media that has to do with our lesson, or to show different cultures and holidays that are celebrated around the world, to really include diversity. We would also have blue light glasses just for our children not to hurt their eyes, and just for them to protect their eyes as much as we can. And the outdoor space would be a basket full of digital cameras, and these would play into our science center, so really like documenting the different seasons of the year, and being able to use that as demonstration in our classroom. And so it supports diverse learners by offering visual, auditory, and interactive tools that help children communicate and learn in ways that match their strengths. So all of these can allow children from different cultures and backgrounds to express themselves and participate fully in the classroom.
Okay, and for the safe space, this is typically a designated space for kids who are overstimulated, stressed out, or just having feeling overwhelming big feelings, to be able to regulate themselves and to be able to calm down. Safe space, another name for it, is sometimes a calm down corner. And it is within an educator's job to create a quality learning environment in a holistic sense. Oftentimes a classroom with dozens of students running around can get chaotic. So in the safe space, if a child is experiencing distress in the classroom, learning is hindered and motivation to come back lessens. So ensuring that a kid has the opportunity to really just be able to regulate and to refocus, so that they can in turn learn the materials that everyone else is learning at the same pace. This portion of the classroom is really important. These spaces should have soothing qualities, neutral, gentle colors, a rug, especially if the floor is hard, pillows, blankets, and an emotion chart to help really identify what the kid is feeling, which is a skill that they will use throughout the rest of their lives. So it's really beneficial in that way. And then also only enough space to have 1 to 2 people at a time, one student, and sometimes if an adult is needed, then the guidance of like an educator or caregiver that is in the classroom. And
So our teacher and family space is really just to celebrate like the relationship between the families and the staff. So our teacher and family space would have helpful bins. So these bins would include like hygiene products that parents may need and they can take home as well. They'll also have school supply bags to have at home for their child. And so these supplies would include like maybe pencils, markers, or glue sticks. And all of these would just be for the parents to also have it at home. And then we would also have our student mailboxes. So each of these folders would have each of the child's name and it would have each of the child's name, and then parents would be free or are free to leave any notes that they may need to communicate to the teacher. And because our classroom is Reggio Emilia based and the classroom is the third educator, we really want to use as much space as we can to allow our children to explore and use their creativity. So we wouldn't have a desk, but we would have like a teacher cart, and it would include any of the materials that any of our staff or us as teachers would need. And then we would also have like a substitute binder just in case if we aren't in class, we can support our substitutes as much as we can. So it would include like our class names and like the photos of the children, and just any accommodations that we may need to like take note of for the substitutes to know. And then we would also have like a family and staff wall, really to just like show like that our class is a family and that we like support, we are here to support their child, or sorry, we want to make it known that like our class is a family and we all want what's best for the child. So coming together is like really the most important thing.
Okay, so for the outdoor learning environment, everything that we have gone over basically ties into this section. Everything that ranges from reading to math to music, this can all be taken outside. So some examples that I have is that this really fosters an environment that has a child to be able to participate in independence, just like the Reggio Emilia approach. And so for indoor examples, the loose parts and nature collections can be brought inside, and then also like being able to do scavenger hunts from the classroom just in case if there's weather and weather troubles and the students can't go outside, they can do like a scavenger hunt. Outdoor examples, basically having like pillows, blankets, making it comfortable, taking art outside, making mud pies and potions, and just having that. For diverse learners, it's just the same. It's going to be having that accessible outdoor paths for them to be able to participate in, and just having the materials reflect the cultures and backgrounds of the students, and being able to have a sociodramatic area, including storytelling from students' cultures, and basically just showing and highlighting the past experiences of them. And so for a culturally sensitive classroom, like it also does go hand in hand with tying everything in with this project. And so students will be able to engage in this classroom of just ultimately making them feel seen and valued and appreciated, and having that awareness of inclusion, and having spaces within the classroom and all aspects of the learning centers to be able to highlight who they are and their families. And so for the indoor examples, having family photo wall, and culturally reflective books, and diverse skin tone art supplies, basically what my peers have mentioned in our learning centers, and having like the toys that areas and multiple lingual support aids for students and caregivers. Outdoor examples, gardening and outdoor material for that reflects the students' cultures. Diverse learners will be able to engage in this by being able to see and recognize cultures, backgrounds, and languages that they see within themselves and their families being represented daily. And so all of this just ties into being seen throughout each learning center that we have gone over.
And then for our floor plan, we just have, this is our main classroom and this is our outside area, but if you take a look, we have a lot of natural
materials. All the cubbies are made out of wood. The same thing with the tables. If you look at the top right corner, we do have what could be our safe space since it's in a corner, or even something down here. And then we do have our sink next to our bathrooms, which is super important. And then for outside, we still emphasized how it's a lot of natural materials. So the tables are wood, the bridges are wood, and then this is a tunnel, which is also wood. And then this is our 3D model, which kind of goes into a little bit more detail. The entry door is right over there at the top, and you can see the cubbies, which the kids would have their own use. And then there's a wall by the table, which everybody would gather. And then this could be an example of a safe space, or even up there, there's a mirror to where they're able to look at each other, but also themselves and see. And then the same thing with the outdoor, just a lot of natural materials, and it's a lot of open space. And something we want to emphasize is that the classroom is easily rearrangeable, so that way the classroom can be changed throughout the year. That way students are always getting new environments. And then to finish off, Reggio Emilia and social justice, we wanted to emphasize that every child is capable, creative, and important. Learning is based on children's ideas, interests, and experiences, and these are the classrooms that are designed to support that. All children deserve equal access to quality education and materials, and this approach promotes fairness, inclusions, and opportunity for every child to succeed. And then just to go over our verse one more time, which is Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in the way he should go, even when he is old, he will not depart from it. This really just emphasizes guidance, growth, and laying a foundation for lifelong learning and character that these children will learn inside the classroom at an early age. And it's perfect for a Reggio Emilia or social justice context.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect.